Good evening, and sorry I'm a few minutes late. This is that one Thursday in the month where I have to dash off at about 7 o'clock. So I've just literally swallowed my tea before coming on live. So welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. I'm just fiddling around with my laptop at the same time as I'm talking to you, to make sure that we're going live on the Facebook page. So my name is Helen Jennings, and I run my Love-a-Duckie business from here in Northamptonshire in the UK. And on a Thursday evening, I come in and we do a bit of crafting with our product of the week. Now on Monday, we created a card, and it was this card here. We cased a card from the front of the catalogue, actually, that one just there, using some of the Memories and More cards and things from this Come Sail Away suite. And we had a quick look at everything that you can get in the suite on Monday, and I think most bits we're actually going to be using today. So it's a really lovely masculine sort of feel to it, this suite. And I did also say I hoped to find the pack of Memory and More cards that I had to sort of show you those sort of in there, how I'd put them in the folders in the pockets. So I have managed to find that. So let's start evening don't even know which time of the day it is. Let's start with the Memory and More cards. So this is one of each of the Memory and More cards that I put in this folder right at the beginning of the catalogue year when it was launched for my launch event, so that you could see them all. So as you can see, you've got some anchors away. This one's got all sort of like compasses and those sorts of things on, yachts, lighthouses, we turn it over, World's Greatest Guy, Destination Happiness, What is Life But a Grand Adventure, Hello Handsome. So all these really lovely cards. Any Day With You is the best. That fabulous big compass on there that would make a really useful topper on a card. We've got the stickers, and we used some of these on Monday. So you get 4 sheets of stickers, 2 of each, in any one pack. Keeps going. Happy Father's Day. You made my day. This is a really nice sort of label that you could stamp greetings and things into. Life is better when we are together. So really lovely. But the thing that I wanted to find this for more than anything was to show you this last page of cards. You, Me and the Sea. It's going to be me in a couple of weeks. Hello Sarah. Not even a couple of weeks now. This time in a fortnight I will be there. Be ready to come home nearly. But the thing I wanted to find these for is to show you these laser cut pieces that you get in this pack. And these, actually I've cut these in half. They do come as I'm sure as a whole, but they cut down into that 4x3 size. Look at that lovely lighthouse. So great toppers on things. Yacht in the sunshine. You could obviously colour that to be the setting sun or the midday sun or whatever you like. Afternoon Sarah. Lovely to see you. So those were the Memory and More cards that I wanted to show you, particularly, as I say, those laser cut ones, because I hadn't got those with me on Monday. So Come Sail Away Suite, fabulous stamp set, which you'll be able to see in a bit more detail there. Let's not knock my tea over. Lighthouse and yachts and things. Gorgeous papers in these blues and greens and crumb cakes, lovely neutral colours. You've got the dies that go with them. There is a High Seas embossing folder. I haven't actually got that embossing folder yet, but that will be one I'm sure that will come eventually, but that gives you like a wavy effect. The design series papers, as I said, Memory and More card pack that we've looked at, a fabulous baker's twine, which we are going to be using, I think, hopefully during this course of this live, and some little trinkets that we're also going to be using. And there we are, we used the baker's twine and the trinkets on Monday as well. So there's the little ship's wheel, there's the baker's twine, and the other trinket that you get is an anchor, and that hopefully is the one that we'll be using today. So that's the fabulous suite. As I say, I am on a tight schedule today, so hopefully we will manage to get everything done that we want to get done. I'm sure we will. As I was looking through my box of cards that I've got that are already made up, I actually came across a lot using this suite. I did do a Stamp-A-Stack class with it earlier in the year, and we've had some samples I think at Tesco's, and I think we've had some other things that I've used on the county tour classes. And I do believe that when we were looking at things that were coming in the new catalogue, that a couple of these I did actually as a Facebook Live, a couple of these examples. So this is one we did at our Stamp-A-Stack class, and it is actually, you've got a little pulley thing here which makes the yacht sail to and fro, and that obviously says set sail in the direction of your dreams. So there we are, that was one we did using the glittery embossing paste and all sorts of things, so that was good fun. This was black embossed, this one, with some watercolouring in the background. So that one's sort of a bit more plain and simple. This was one we did when we went to the last on-stage event. This was one of the samples that we created using these products. So that's a really nice one. This was another one from our Stamp-A-Stack. So this was just using those different elements, the compass and this rope and the anchor, randomly stamping them across a piece of card, which we masked off a border just here, a piece just here that we then stamped the greeting into. And these are those lovely dies, that lovely rope die. If you were watching on Monday, if you saw Mondays, you'd have heard me talking about the lovely dimension and you get in that rope die. Really fabulous. This is one I did, I think I might have done this one live, or may have just shown it as a display, but this is some of the paper that I've inked up and stamped onto in the background just there, before stamping the boats onto that topper. This was a Case the Catalogue one that we did, so there is a one very similar to this in the catalogue, and this is just some fairly simple watercolouring, just stamped images and a bit of watercolouring around them. And then this one I certainly seem to remember doing as a live, because this was the one, because they'd told us on stage that these were originally charcoal drawings, this was the one that I did in the greys and things, because I wanted to take it back to its charcoaly roots. And there's some embossed compasses in the background there. So those were the ones I'd found. Here's some I made earlier, samples I found in my box. But I thought what we would do this evening, we're going to do a tag and then we're going to do a card. So we're going to start with the tag, because in theory that should be a little bit more straightforward. So let's take these bits out of my basket, and hopefully I've managed to gather everything together. So what I've got here is I've got a piece of crumb cake card, and this actually measures 5 centimetres wide by, was it 12 centimetres? Yes, 12 centimetres long. And then I've got a piece of Night of Navy card, and that was about 4.8 by about 11.8, so just a couple of millimetres shorter on each side, just so that you get a bit of a peek of the crumb cake coming underneath. And then I've got a piece of the Designer Series paper, this Seaside Spray paper with all these yachts on, and that measures 4.5 by 11.5 centimetres. And what I thought I would do is that I would take my scissors and I'd rough this paper up a little bit. So I'm literally running the blade of my scissors along the edge of this paper just to distress it. actually, although that's torn, I'm not going to worry too much because I want it to look distressed, so that's fine. Coming up this final edge. I actually make a bit of something of that torn bit. Just curling it a little bit. Right, let's give that a bit of a tap and get rid of the extra fluffy bits. I've had some snail refills arrive, so I can use my snail to stick my Night of Navy cardstock to my crumb cake cardstock. And then we'll add our distressed paper on the top. Like that. Right, let's see if this will punch through the whole lot. I did a test sample earlier where it did. Yes, it's perhaps not completely advisable to be punching through 3 layers of card, but fairly impressive, I'm sure you would agree, that it does actually stamp through 3 layers of card. So that's our layers on our tag. So here I've got some pieces of designer series paper. I've got Hi Amanda, I've got some green, I've got this blue and white stripe, this sort of Night of Navy and white stripe, and this balmy blue and white stripe. So I'm just going to, and I've also got a piece of acetate, so I'm going to layer some of these up, and I'm going to tear these. So rather than use my scissors on these, I'm going to tear them. So we'll have that one about there. And we'll tear some of our acetate, and that one can come about there. And then our green stripe, I think I want this sort of stripe that's close together, come in there, and then our little bit of white stripe and coming down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick those together, and then I'm going to trim them off to my required length. So I think the height of that paper is about right for what I want. So let's put a bit of snail on the bottom of that and lay down this vellum where we want it. And then we'll put more snail on there and come in with our green paper. So obviously where we've torn it gives it quite a nice sort of wave effect. Looks like the foamy waves on the sea. Now let's put that bit on there, and then if I swing this over, I'll be able to trim this all across to match our bottom piece, and then we can stick that entire thing onto the bottom of our tag. Like that. Then I've got here a yacht. Now is that piece of paper big enough for what I want? Yes, I think probably just about. So I'm going to use some Night of Navy ink, and this is the larger of the 2 yachts that are in this stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that. Actually, I don't want to stamp that on there. I wanted to do it on some balmy blue card. So we will. That's better. And then let's grab the big shot and tangled up in. And the dies. And we've got 2 size dies for the yachts as well, but we obviously want the bigger one because that's the one that we've stamped. Line that up. Put our lid on. Move our tea out the way. Taking the opportunity to have a quick slurp as it goes. Right, that was slightly wonky, but it will do. Haven't got time today to unwonk it. Now this little bit here pops out as well, so you've got sort of this nice gap in the sails, which gives it a nice it's a nice element. I think I'm just going to take my ink pad and just dabble that in my ink pad around the edges, just to give it a little bit so it just pops a little bit more on there, which it does. That's great stuff. Let's put some dimensionals on the back here. And we'll tuck that under that little bit of vellum just there, I think, so that it looks like the foamy waves slipping round the bottom. There we go. And then I've got a greeting here that says thanks. Obviously this is going to be a thank you gift for somebody, so we'll just stamp that onto a piece of soft sea foam card and snip that out. You obviously would take a great deal more care than this if you were doing this at home, I'm sure. We'll pop that onto a piece of Night of Navy. And we'll pop that up on some dimensionals as well. Like that. And then we'll take some of this scrummy twine. And we'll just knot that through the top there. So whether you are just adding that to a box, to a gift bag, whether you're going to decorate a gift bag, whether you're going to use some of your papers to create a gift bag, all sorts of things you could do. But that's just a nice simple tag using that Sail Away suite that you can create to say thank you. Of course, there's also no reason why you couldn't use that as a topper on a card. You could make your card and perhaps put a bit of this designer series paper on the background and just sort of put that on with some dimensionals at a bit of a jaunty angle. So tags can very easily also be toppers for cards. And the nice thing about tags is they're a nice little size, so they are a good thing to create, to have a play with new products and things, because you're not creating a huge project. It's quite a small, compact project. But as I say, once you've finished it, there's no reason why you can't use it as a card topper as well as a tag to go on a gift. So let me just get rid of that excess paper. So there's our little tag. So that's quite sweet. It makes a change from having flowers and things on tags to have boats. Right, now our next card or our card that we're going to make. Got a variety of things in here. It's actually going to be using the lighthouse, and these little birds are going to feature on there somewhere. We're going to need our anchor. Let's move those to one side. And we've got various bits of card and things that I've already cut, ready to go in here. And I thought we'd have a go at creating a black ice card. Now this was something else that we did as a class quite some months ago now. It looks as if it's got a little bit battered sitting in the box. But yes, so I thought we'd have a go at making a black ice card. That would be something a little bit different to do with this suite. So the first thing I want to do is, somewhere I have got a grey granite ink pad. There it is. And I just want to put something in the background of this card, because this card is going to be layered onto a matte of black card and then on our card base. But I just want something in the background, so not anything. I'm doing it grey granite on grey granite, so tone on tone, randomly twisting them around. I don't necessarily need any in the middle, but we'll put one in there anyway. A little bit just showing up there. That's a little bit just showing up there. So there, we've just got anchors randomly stamped across the back of that piece of card. And actually I think we can stick that on here. So this is this one is a 13.9 by 9.5 centimetre piece of grey granite that is stuck onto a 14.4 by 10 centimetre piece of basic black. And then I'm going to lay all that onto a whisper white card base that measures 14.9 by 10.5 centimetres. Well, actually, obviously, it originally was 21 centimetres, scored at 10.5 centimetres to make our card base. So there's our base of our card. So that's the really easy bit. We've just randomly stamped anchors all over there. We've got black matte in there, and we've also got a grey granite. Right, now for the fancy pants bits. This is obviously for a greeting later. Let's pop that to one side. Hopefully not lose it. We've got another black mat there ready to put our silver card foil onto. So now here I've got a piece of silver foil, and this piece of silver foil measures 7 centimetres by 10 centimetres. And I've got a stays on ink pad. So the first thing you do for this black ice technique is holding your stays on ink pad fairly lightly. I'm just going to hold it at the top of my card and just drag it down. So you're not looking to put a whole lot of colour on. I think we may have done a black ice card before. We're just sort of having some slight sort of streaks going on in there. It just almost takes the shine out of it. So there we are. So I've just literally, I don't know if you can pick that up, you've got like these streaks of black ink going down the length of that card. So really subtle. You don't want a lot, you don't want to press hard. It is just almost allowing the ink pad to its own weight almost. You're just holding it and dragging it down, and it's almost like just the weight of the ink pad as it is that's giving contact to the card. Right, so now I'm going to ink up the lighthouse, and again it's in stays on. Obviously we're stamping onto foil, so we would need it to be in stays on in order for it to stays on, because stays on is the solvent based permanent ink that in the family. So there we have our lighthouse stamped onto our silver foil. And then the other thing I'm going to add in is just some of these birds. So again, I'm going to ink those up with Stays On ink, and we'll add those into that top corner just there. Swirling around. Oh, look at that. Push too hard, got some blobs, never mind. They'll have to be other smaller birds. We'll have to imagine that's what they are. Right, so we want that ideally to dry just for a second, and it doesn't take long because Stays On is fairly instantly drying because it is solvent based. But the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need our Versamark ink, and we're going to need some clear embossing powder. So here's my clear embossing powder in my tub with my spoon ready to go. So once we think that that Stays On has dried, we're going to do almost the same thing that we did with the Stays On, and we're just going to drag this Versamark down the front of this card. And we want it to have a fairly good covering, but what we're not looking for is a completely solid covering, because if we were doing that we'd tap it all over. We're not necessarily worried about that. We're quite happy for it to be a little bit streaky, a little bit stripy in texture. And as I put this powder on, you'll hopefully be able to see that that is indeed the case. Now obviously you can use any foil for this. This is silver foil, you could use gold foil. Black foil would probably be a bit of a challenge. But any foils that you've got, copper foil. The copper foil is quite interesting. That looks almost like the brasses that you got in when you used to go brass rubbing. If you've ever done brass rubbing in churches and things. And the copper foil almost gives that sort of effect. Now I don't know whether you can see that, but can you see how that sort of, that powder sitting on the top is sort of really quite streaky. And we'll put our heat gun on, and then we're going to heat that up. And because it's foil, it does actually turn quite quickly, and I don't know whether you're able to see that changing. Try not to burn my fingers as I go. As always with your heat gun, don't waft it around all over the place, just concentrate on one piece at a time. Right, I think that has all gone. Now, can you see the texture in that? Really is quite fun. So we've got our lighthouse. Just wondering, because that has curled up a bit, whether the snail is going to be strong enough to hold it in place. We'll see. We'll put a goodly amount on. There's our black card base. Decide in a minute whether we're going to go a little bit wonky or a little bit straight. We'll have a look. Right, now what I've got here is I've actually die cut. This is one of the dies in the set. It's this stitched label just here. So what I've done is I've got one in grey granite. I've actually got two in grey granite. That was just in case we had a disaster with the first one. So we've got one in grey granite, and I've got one in black that I have then cut in half. So let's find our greeting. Did I not get the greeting out? No. So the greeting that we're going to use, particularly given the back on our card, is this one that says, "Let hope be your anchor through the storms of life." Let me just find block for that. Or not. I've been doing quite a bit of stamping and things this afternoon, getting things ready for the big party tomorrow. So if you fancy coming along to that, there is still time to shout and say you'd like to come. Oh, that will fit on there actually. So I've been doing a few little bits with the Christmassy things. It is lovely, isn't it, Sarah? It is a lovely technique. Yes. And every foil actually looks really different. So I know when we did it before, I used a really pretty vintagey floral image with the gold that was really lovely. And we even did, because at the start, that shows when it was, at the time that we did this technique in class, it was during celebration, and we had those really funky Grapefruit Grove and bright pink foils, so we even played with those. So whatever the foil, have a go, and yeah, it does all look, it looks really different on whichever colour foil you have, but it will work with any foil. Right, so what I'm going to do with that, I've stamped the "Let Hope Be Your Anchor Through the Storms of Life." Let's put some snail on the back of that, and then our little frame that we've chopped in half, we're just going to use to give not too big a border, but just a little bit of a border top and bottom on there. Oh, who needs to spell? Right, we will see. So what I've cut here is a piece of grey granite and white ribbon. So what I thought we would do is we would have that zigzagging across the back. About like that. I'm not sure where my tear and tape's gone, but I have got some double-sided tape just here, so I'll just stick a piece of this down on the back. So that gives us a bit of a whirl of ribbon across the back there. Let's put the top on my stays on, because you should always cover up your stays on as soon as you can, so not to allow it to dry out. I think we'll put some dimensionals on the back here. Could really do with some, oh, there's some large ones. I think that will make life a little bit easier, won't it? We'll put one on each corner, and then we have one in there and one in there. That should work quite nicely. Let's have that on a bit of an angle just there. We'll have this coming across here. And then, last but not least, somewhere we've got our little anchor charms. And I think we'll have just a little bit of white baker's thread, baker's twine, just to sort of go with that flash of white that's in the ribbon. So let's just tie that through there. a little bit of that off. Oh, sorry, wobbling you. And then we'll find some glue dots. And let's just pick up a couple of those glue dots. And we'll add that in there. I'm going to trim that down a bit more, I think. So there we go. Some black ice using that lighthouse and those birds and the anchors in the background, just in grey granite on grey granite card, so a bit of tone on tone in there just for a bit of subtle something in the background. It's amazing though how that lifts something. Quite often if you've just got a plain piece of card, it's too stark. So whether you do something like this, some tone on tone stamping, or whether you run it through an embossing folder, sometimes just adding that little bit of something to that background can really lift a card. So one card, one tag, and that along with the card that we cased on Monday. Let's snuggle that in there as well. Makes quite a nice little collection of goodies, and all of those have been created, as I say, with that Come Sail Away suite, which is just so fantastic. And you can tell by the number of cards that I've created with it that yeah, there's just endless possibilities for the cards that you can make with this suite. And that doesn't actually stop there, because those papers are just really great for any sort of masculine cards that you wanted to create. And certainly if we turn the page just here to this A Good Man stamp set, it works beautifully without. I've certainly seen lots of cards and have created cards with the blue and white striped paper and those sorts of things in the background of these stamps. So yeah, the papers aren't just to go with the stamp set and the dies, they are really useful for lots and lots of projects. So I hope you have enjoyed our little get together and our little play this afternoon. I've just got time to swallow the last of my cup of tea before it is time for me to dash out of the door. But I will be back on Monday with a whole new set of products. And don't forget, if you want to add this set of products to your crafty stash, if you want them in your craft room, when I get round to editing this video, and it might be later on, you will find a link to my shop and this particular suite of products. So if you're living here in the UK and you haven't got a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like me to help you in that department, I would be more than delighted to. So if you're watching this on catch up, do pop on and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from and what you're up to, and I will be back on Monday morning.